Hello everyone and welcome to the DeHart house. My name is Alicia and I'm your host of this crafty channel here on YouTube. Today is June 24th of 2025 and this is my mid-June check-in, which is being produced late. It is past the halfway point of June, quite a bit past the halfway point. I wanted to have this up on the channel at the halfway mark, but the stars didn't align, so I'm doing it now, and I figure late is better than never. So in this mid-month check-in, what I'm going to do is show you the crafting projects that I have on the go this month. So this could include things that I've already finished. This could include things that I've newly cast on. It could include projects you've seen before that I'm still working on. They're still moving forward. Things that aren't being actively worked on in the month of June, I'm just not even going to talk about. You know, they're just not even going to show up here because why talk about it until I work on it again? But not only am I going to share the crafting stuff that I'm working on, like knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving, cross-stitching, that kind of stuff, but I'm also going to show you around my garden. So I live in the Seattle area, Pacific Northwest of Washington State, and I grow a lot of things. I grow a lot of fruit, veggies, flowers, and I want to show you around as to what's growing in the garden or not growing in the garden. It's a very hot day today. It is hot and humid. I have already filmed the outdoor bits and I'm a bit sweaty and frankly exhausted. Heat really drains my energy. So yeah, that's what this episode is about. I will let you know that the end of the month episode is when I really talk about more details. So today is just an overview, like a quick glimpse of what's going on in Alicia's crafty life. And that's the point of this mid-month check-in. And then for more details about like what needle size, what yarn, how much yardage did I use out of my stash, I do those things in the end of month episode. So if you're curious about how I did in May, check out my May Makes episode and you can get all of the gory details. Okay, before we jump in, a couple things. One, I don't know if you can see it. I have a pesky rubber band in my mouth. So I'm doing the whole Invisalign thing. I started it in September of 24. It is June of 25. We are still going, except I've upgraded now to a phase with rubber bands. And it's very annoying. So there may be some times when I stumble over some words, have a little bit of a lisp kind of thing. It's because I have mouth hardware going on. Second thing, the air conditioner is on, so you will probably hear airflow as background sound. Sorry, but it's like 80 degrees outside, and myself nor our 8-year-old black Labrador can really handle the heat, so we have the air conditioning on. Third, I rearranged the craft room because why not? So yeah, I have moved things around in here, so if the perspective looks a little bit different, I hope it does, because I moved things around in here. But yeah, I have some plans for this summer to do a better job organizing this space to make it more useful and less of a drop zone. So there will be shelving in the future and things of that sort. So You're not going to see any of that in this episode, but you will in the future. So heads up. Let's get started, hey? There was a pair of socks. Once upon a time, there was a pair of socks. That feels like I'm starting story time. I feel like that's really appropriate, actually. Yeah, I was working on a pair of socks, mostly in the month of May. I wasn't sure I was going to get them done in time, and truth be told, I did not. So they carried over into June, pretty much June 1st. June 1st I finished them. So if you were around for May, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, yeah. These are socks that I knit up using 2 different self-striping yarns that I incorporated together. And the colors are amazing. They are so me, honestly. Yeah. So I'm really pleased with these. They're off the sock blockers. They've been sitting on the blockers for a while, but yeah, these are for me, and I can't wait to talk about them in my end of the month episode. But I will tell you, spoilers, they're not the same length. Yeah, I wasn't paying close enough attention. And the way I was measuring and excuses, one is smaller than the other. And that's just how it's going to be. So I did finish a pair of socks. I really liked the whole process of incorporating 2 different self-striping yarns together. What I did is alternated every other row between the colors. And I liked it so much, I came into my stash and I was like, I'm going to do it again because it's so cool. Like, this is not what I expected it to look like. Honestly, I expected these 2 colors to look like crap together, and they looked amazing. So I was like, wow, what do I know about color? Obviously, very little. So let me see what else I can whip up. So I came in my stash and I grabbed 2 other balls of self-striping yarn. And I whipped up another pair. These are shorty pair of socks, but yeah, so these are for my husband, and I just think it's really cool how similar but how different these look. Like, here we've got still some distinct striping going on. Here less so and more blending. Anyway, there's a lot of blue predominantly. Michael and I both like the color blue, so it's not uncommon for me to buy self-striping yarn that has some element of blue in it. We both like to wear the color blue. So the fact that these have a lot of blue in it makes a lot of sense, but yeah, I just think they look really cool. And then, I know, it's not over. This is going so well. Let me do another one. So this pair is not finished. This pair is in progress. While moving my furniture around in here and discovering baskets of scrap yarn that I had forgotten existed, I went, hey, look, more self-striping yarn, except even smaller bits of which to do scrappy bonanza with. So I have a pair on the needles, and I went total masochist and also decided to do 2 at a time. So each sock is using 2 balls of yarn. So I have 4 balls of yarn attached to this project. But yeah, the colors were already split into 2, like 2 10-gram leftovers of this colorway and 2 9-gram leftovers of this colorway. So it was well set up to do 2 at a time. And I don't know how I'm managing 4 strands of yarn plus all these ends, it looks like a mess, but somehow it's staying sorted, so good for me. But yeah, so I have another pair where I'm alternating 2 different self-striping yarns together. But here's the thing, I told you I had like 2 10-gram minis of this color and 2 9-gram minis of this color, and that's not enough to do a whole sock. So I went through the leftover yarn stash basket and found colors that still coordinated in some way. So I have colors in here that are very much like cool tones, so blues and blacks and grays, and I left the warm tones of more the creams and browns and peaches. Those are still in the basket. But yeah, so down the leg I've got 2 different colors, and then down the foot I'm doing 2 different colors from those. But so far it's looking like things coordinate, which makes me very pleased. So yeah, I am hopeful that I could also finish this pair this month, which would be 3. Look at this, guys. 3 pairs of scrappy self-striping with self-striping kind of socks. They look so cool. I'm really excited about this. So yeah, that has been my sock knitting, has been diving down this rabbit hole. But don't worry, I haven't just been sock knitting. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm DeHart House on Instagram. It's where I put all my knitting stuff. I also have Homegrown Adventurer, which is where I post about my gardening and painting and things like that. But yeah, I also have a garment going. This garment I think I started this in May, and I haven't really shown it to you because it has been knit and ripped back several times. And pretty much every time I've sat down to record, it either was ripped back or I knew I needed to rip it back. So there really wasn't much point in showing to you because it was going to change. So I now have it to a point where it's actually forming a functional and beautiful garment. So yeah, I am designing a tank top. And I just did some blocking on this so that I can get hopefully more accurate measurements as to the progress. But yeah, I am really loving how it fits me. I was certainly frustrated at how many times I had to rip things back because it wasn't going according to plan. But honestly, having like super potato chippy socks to work on that have been engaging in color rather than pattern, and then this has definitely been focusing on pattern rather than color, has been a really great balance so that I'm not feeling defeated by my knitting projects. So yeah, I am using this really cool lace pattern around here, and I'm not going to give away the special sauce because I don't know yet. I have not published a garment pattern before, and part of the reason is the, what's the word called where you make the different sizes? Grading. That's what it's called. So grading for the different sizes. I am all for like, hey, I figured out how to make it for me and now I'm done. And that might end up being the case, but I would like to explore how to grade a pattern, a garment pattern, and then be able to publish it for different sizes. And yeah, that's yet a whole nother rabbit hole. So I am taking pretty detailed notes of this project in the hopes that I can achieve that goal of grading this for different sizes. So just stay tuned to the channel for such a thing. But yeah, this is a worsted weight cotton blend. I forget the exact composition, but it's a discontinued yarn. Actually, I got it on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and I did search it the other day out of curiosity, and this is a yarn that is not being produced anymore, which is kind of sad, but also probably why it was in the clearance section. So for me, great deal. This garment is going to be pretty inexpensive because the yarn was clearance. But as far as a pattern writing perspective goes, that's kind of crappy because then people can't get the same yarn. So also something I will want to think about, but yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. So this hits me about mid-waist, and so it does show midriff, which means I want to make it a little bit longer. My intention with this top is to create something that's that I could wear under a blazer and wear it to work. I will also share with you, even though I think I'm gonna rip this out, I cast on a skirt. So I knit a skirt a few years ago, and I really like that skirt. And I did buy more yarn to make more skirts of a similar variety. So I cast on, and what I did with the previous skirt is, I'm really into this like striping every other round with colors. But yeah, I got these two gradients and striping them every other round to go through, which is what I did on my first skirt. And I did start that way. I even did the little purl ridge so I could fold this over and then sew in an elastic band, because otherwise there's no way this is staying up on my body. And then I was going to do striping and a lacy pattern, but the stripes and the lace is just, it's just too much. You're not going to be able to see the lace. Stripes are going to be distracting. Ugh. So then I decided brioche. Kind of give the effect of the stripes going vertically instead of horizontally. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. But I'm just not, I'm not vibing with it. Like, I don't know, there's something about it that's just not working for me, you know? So this is on the back burner. This is sitting in a bag. Just chilling. Just chilling. I got my socks. I got my top to work on. I like the idea of the brioche. I don't know how else to say it except I'm just not vibing with it. I don't know if it's the colors. I don't know if it's the number of stitches. I don't know. It's my tension. I don't know what it is. But yeah, it's in timeout and it may get frogged and reimagined. Maybe it's the colors. I don't know. We'll touch base on this later. I did also do a little bit of painting for some D&D minis. I will put in a picture here of the rats that I painted. Yeah, rats. We started a new Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and the setting is in Drakenheim. For any of you out there who might also be D&D players, Drakenheim is a setting made by the Dungeon Dudes, and they have a channel on YouTube. They have a whole series of playing through Drakenheim campaigns. 1, 2, 3 series? I don't know. Anyway, there's at least 2 campaigns, and we've started the first setting, and apparently the city is infested with rats. So we needed some rats, and Michael printed some on his new 3D printer, and I painted them, and it was a lot of fun. So we have some rats. Yeah, I would hold them up to the camera and show you, but they are minis. They are quite small, and it is hard to get like things to focus. So I think still pictures are probably going to be the way to go with minis, at least for now. Yeah. So it's definitely warm outside today. The weather forecast this morning predicted 81 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's quite humid. So yeah, I'm in the shade under the little temporary gazebo thing we have up. But I'm going to take you around the garden and show you all the things that are growing. This is our main garden bed. It is in the ground and extends quite a ways back here. It is full of all kinds of beautiful things. So back here in the corner, I have garlic, and this garlic was planted in the fall, and I usually harvest it around July 4th. That is about 2 weeks away. So this will be coming out soon-ish. In front of the garlic, I have a couple of squash plants, which I'm pretty sure are zucchinis. One of them looks way healthier than the other one. Then I have my bush steak tomatoes. These are my slicing tomatoes. These are 2 volunteer squashes. I suspect they are pumpkins. Well, one of them anyway, based on the way the fruit is forming. These on the end I know are pumpkins because I labeled them. Down the 2 rows are more tomatoes. I've got my indeterminate variety that will grow as long as I let them. Here I have Amish paste tomatoes, so like Roma tomatoes, and then down here are my cherry tomatoes. I'm going to show you, I actually have some that are growing, which is pretty cool. Hello, Marjorie. Hello. In the middle I have peas, garden peas, that I've used some leftover sticks from windstorms to prop up, and then you'll see on the other end I have some more pumpkin plants as well as some green beans. These cherry tomatoes are about 3 feet high, almost 3 feet high, I'd say. And here are the peas in the middle. These are, I'm pretty sure, garden peas. They're looking just like the snow peas, but basically I'm going to let them puff up and shell them. But yeah, oh, here's some tomatoes. Let me zoom in on this. There they are. Some beautiful cherry tomatoes forming. Obviously, they're green, not at all ripe, but it's nice to see that fruit is developing. And if I go a little bit up the same plant, there's a few more on the next layer getting going. So yeah, I just have to keep up with trellising and clipping off suckers. So here we are on the other end of the tomato lane, and I have some green beans that I planted here. And what I'm going to do is plant some more and kind of succession sow them down the middle here. Here's the other pumpkin. I've got 2 pumpkin plants here that are starting to take off. And yeah, looking pretty cool. There's the garlic bed. Now down this side is where I started pushing back this retaining wall. And obviously, I haven't finished. And I'm hoping we can make more progress on that this year. But yeah, this used to come out to here, and the issue with it is that it's a long way to lean to try to get to the back, and it was really hurting my back and my knees to do so. So we just wanted to push this back, and I've got some pumpkins up here. Not that I think this is the ideal place to grow pumpkins, but it's a space that was available when they were ready. I've got a boxwood bush here that stays green all year long. I've got some lupin I transplanted that's just a little baby. It's not doing super well, but it's making some flowers, which is good. My lilies are giving us a beautiful pop of red color. Some hostas I transplanted. I don't know if they're going to do all that well. But back here, I put corn, and I just put that in a couple days ago. So I don't see any seedlings popping up. It just looks like a plain dirt bed right now. But let's check it out. Yeah, just looks like a plain dirt bed. So I'll get some water on this later so it's not like super dried out. But yeah, there should be corn there eventually. And then back behind it, I still have some weeds I need to deal with, but these are raspberries I planted a couple years ago, and I've really let them go. That was not my intention, but I will need to clean this up and help keep that plant healthy. I love our little fig trees. We have 2 different varieties. This one is, I don't know, I've told you guys before. This one is brown turkey fig, and then this one is mission fig. And we put these in the ground, was it last year? I think it might have been last year. But we finally staked them up to try to help them grow up straight. And we put compost around the base and some fresh mulch. And they're looking pretty good. I do need to get in and pick out the weeds that have popped up from the compost. But yeah. Here's another shot of that main bed full of tomatoes, garlic, squashes, peas. These 2 beds up here have potatoes. So the bed on the right was planted in March. The bed on the left was planted in May, I believe. So not only do they look different because one batch is much older than the other, but they're also 2 different varieties. I wanted to set the camera down and walk over there, but the ground is in no way level right here, and my tripod keeps falling over, so I'm going to have to hold it. But yeah, this is Yukon Gold, and these are russets. So the plants do look a little bit different, even if they were the same age. They mostly look different because these are dying back, which means the potatoes are almost ready to be harvested. So what I'm going to do is let the leaves die back even more. I'm not going to water this bed. I'm going to let the plants dry out, and then we'll come in and we will harvest potatoes. And there are some like right under the surface here, so I'm not going to disturb this too much, but it's like super wide open. This was lush and full. But yeah, those will come out soon. These are still leafing up, which is good. There are certainly weeds in there too. But yeah, lovely potatoes. And I added these beds, excuse the mess back here. You know how it is. Backyards always have that clutter pile. Ours is right here on the porch. So these containers are new to me. So I got these containers from a friend at church, and she was moving and giving away a bunch of her pots and rakes and all kinds of stuff. So I transplanted the cotton into these containers. So I have 4 plants in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants in this one. And I still have 4 more back here that will need to be transplanted. I also have some more marigolds that need to go in the garden. But yeah, my hope is they'll be nice and toasty here because cotton really loves the heat. And we're in Washington, which is not known for its heat. Not the same way that Texas is, and Texas is a great place to grow cotton. So yeah, I'm hopeful that these babies will take off. This is the farthest I've ever gotten cotton to grow here. I haven't ever successfully grown cotton to harvest the fiber, and I'm really proud of myself for getting it this far. I'm starting to see flowers developing, so I'm really excited. So I still have my kale developing seed pods for me, and I can see we now also have some aphids on this plant. So I'm going to have to, let's see if I can get it to focus. I'm going to have to spray this with some neem oil to keep those guys from sucking the life out of this plant. But yeah, I'm going to trim back some of these flowers, let it focus on the seed it's got. I did transplant 1 more jalapeno pepper in here. So I have 4 plants total. My snow peas here, I need to come through and harvest. They're getting too big. But I need to harvest these snow peas, so we'll have some peas with dinner tonight. These don't like the heat. So today's 80-degree weather, the snow peas are not going to enjoy. And as it continues to get hot, these will continue to go brown and just die. So I will harvest peas as long as I can. These 2 eggplants are doing fine, but I've lost almost all my eggplants. I think they just didn't like the cool weather all that much. I've got 2 cucumbers. I sowed some more seeds, so hopefully they will pop up. But yeah, I put down compost and seeds. Hopefully it's warm enough they germinate. I think this is dill. Is this dill or is this a carrot? I think this is dill. I'd be happy for some more volunteer dill. Kale got a nice neem oil bath, and we'll need to get another one. But yeah, I've got some really big leaves. I'll get to harvest these and put them in soups and things. I don't know if you caught this earlier, but I do have a volunteer dill here by my russet potatoes. So I had a pot here where I had mint and dill in it. And the dill dropped some seeds, and I got some volunteer dill, and it makes me so happy. So if we go to the front porch, you can see that I went shopping yesterday, or a couple days ago, and we got herbs. So we've got basil, sage, oregano. Is this thyme? Yeah, thyme. What's this? A thing I've never heard of, but it smelled really good. Sacharija. Parsley and another kind of parsley. I've got some onions. I've got some rosemary. So onions are not an herb, but y'all, I don't know why I'm so crappy at growing onions, and I had to get some. We'll see if they make it at this point, but herbs that will need to get transplanted into different places in the garden. Okay, right off the porch steps here, if you go out the porch steps, right here is my strawberry bed. And this bed is starting to see slugs. I haven't actually seen slugs, but I've seen bites on the strawberries from slugs. I have harvested most of the berries. There's still some in here maturing, but I came through here last night. So I have harvested 11 pounds of strawberries so far this year. And there's still some more in there. So yeah, I've been making jams and stuff, which is amazing. First time doing it. I'm so proud of myself. These are lupins going to seed. And these are in the pea family, hence their little seed pods looking like peas. And part of what they do is they fix nitrogen into the soil, which makes the nitrogen accessible by the strawberries. So I am letting them grow here for that purpose. Plus they make a pretty flower. And I'm going to take some of those seed pods and put them in different places around my garden as well to get more pops of color, but also helping with that nitrogen fixing. These are ornamental lilies. They're still producing the flower buds. So they're still working on that. We put down some fresh mulch up here, but this is our little corner flower bed in the front yard. We've got some lilies, we've got some roses. My dahlias haven't come up yet. I did go ahead and trim back the pansies, y'all. Pansies were going wild in the front yard there. It looked really cool, except for the weeds growing amongst them that I had a hard time picking out. So it started to look like garbage. And literally it was collecting garbage because the wind blows the garbage down our street. But yeah, it looks much cleaner now, and I'm happy with that. It's sparse, but clean, and I'd rather have clean. This is French lavender. No, Spanish. This is Spanish lavender. I harvested a bunch of flowers to dry, and then I clipped a bunch of flowers from the second round. So he got a haircut. He's starting to grow back. My yellow daylilies just look dry as all get out. Doesn't look super healthy, but that's a plant from last year. It's still pretty young. Mint looks fabulous. And I'm going to be making some strawberry mint jam as well and trying out that kind of thing. This is my English lavender. It looks beautiful. This is our little Christmas tree we bought last year, and I up-potted it so he can grow bigger. I need to put something in these little cement things. This is my Lucifer crocosmia, one of my favorite flowers. It is still just greening up, but it will make these beautiful red flowers. Over here, the Lithidora is done blooming, so what I can do now is actually trim this. Not today because it's blazing hot and I don't want to stress the plant out. But I'm going to give this a nice trim, and I'm going to take some cuttings to propagate, because this is a good like rock wall kind of ground cover thing, and we have a rock wall over there, and I would love to see like blue flowers hanging off the side. So I'm going to work on that. This is my hydrangea. I bought this our first year in this house. I bought this at the clearance rack at Lowe's. This thing was only a foot in diameter, and look at it now. It's like 4 feet in diameter and loaded with flowers. It is amazing. I use coffee grounds to get the flowers to go to this blue color. Basically makes the soil more acidic. It's just the kind of variety that this hydrangea is. They don't all work that way. But yeah, if I make the soil more acidic, the flowers are more blue. And I just use coffee grounds to do that. Our yellow roses here, they need a good trim back. I need to deadhead the dead roses, let the new blooms shine through. I do have one dahlia here that's starting to pop up. I did plant a bunch of seeds, including sunflowers, but something keeps coming along and eating my sunflowers before they can pop up. So I do not think this is going to be a year for sunflowers. Thanks for joining me for this mid-month check-in in the month of June. I hope that you enjoyed seeing the different things I've got going on in the craft room and different things going on in the garden. And of course, candid shots of Marjorie, our black lab, running around in the background. She is so cute and she loves hanging out in the garden with me. It's one of our favorite things to do. Except when it's really hot. She definitely followed me inside when it was time. Like, we need to cool down now. I do just want to pop out a reminder about my special episodes. So I don't always make special episodes. That's part of what makes them special, right? But I put up a special episode last week about the milestone that I've made over 100 pairs of socks, like just over 100 pairs of socks, which is incredible. And I wanted to celebrate it by making a little special episode, and also there will be a follow-up special episode coming up the July 4th weekend, which is coming up soon, you guys. Basically, it's going to be a Q&A episode, and what I need from you are questions. So I made a form, a Google form, where you could submit questions to ask me, and they can seriously be about anything. The prompt was like about sock knitting, but you could ask anything. So I will pop a link to that form in this video description as well. But if you haven't checked out my special episode about sock making, check it out. The Google form link is also in that description box. Please fill it out. There are a couple questions for you, just so I can, ask you some knitting questions too, because why not? You guys know stuff and have opinions, and I'd love to know them. But there's also a question for you to submit questions. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, please fill that out. Give me lots of things to talk about in that episode. And until next time, I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, and you enjoy your crafts, whatever they may be. Bye, everyone.